Blake Lively exposed in court. Megyn Kelly's shocking evidence changes everything. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni never seemed like they'd land in an all-out war. But here we are, hurtling toward a courtroom showdown that's shaking Hollywood to its core. Overnight, these two went from co-stars to fierce adversaries, with accusations flying in every direction. The headlines alone would have you believe we're dealing with the biggest scandal since Johnny Depp and Amber Heard squared off. But is there more to this controversy than meets the eye? Word on the street is that Megyn Kelly has turned her attention to dissecting Blake's story piece by piece, determined to prove that not everything adds up in the swirl of allegations and counter-allegations. Receipts are piling up, text messages, videos, and behind-the-scenes memos that might completely flip the narrative Blake initially presented to the world. Now, Justin Baldoni is fighting back in a way nobody saw coming, fueling rumors that Blake's entire brand could be on the brink of collapse. Still, one question echoes from fans and onlookers alike. If Blake's telling the truth, why does she keep trying to silence any hint of opposing evidence? With the $400 million lawsuit looming, and an entire press tour overshadowed by drama, nobody can tell how this ends. But one thing is certain. Hollywood hasn't seen a drama this messy and this personal in years. Tensions surrounding Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni hit a fever pitch when whispers spread that Megyn Kelly had uncovered gaping holes in Blake's version of events. Megyn, known for her relentless style, analyzed every statement Blake made during the initial complaint, searching for inconsistencies. According to inside sources, she found more contradictions than she bargained for. Imagine the scene. A hushed courtroom, Blake's legal team seated across from Justin's. Everyone on edge, waiting to see who would crack first under scrutiny. Rumors say that at one point, Blake lost her composure, raising her voice to declare, "These false stories have to stop." But Megyn Kelly's questions kept coming, drilling into every detail of Blake's public statements, pointing out potential exaggerations or manipulations. The tension escalated to the point where even the bailiff had to remind both sides to keep the decorum. Some spectators claim that Blake's meltdown was fueled by the evidence Justin's team presented, proof that contradicted a few of her harshest allegations. Others believe she was rattled simply because she didn't expect certain receipts to surface in open court. No matter which version you believe, the meltdown set the tone. This wasn't going to be a neat, polite disagreement. It was going to be a bare-knuckle fight for reputations, careers, and personal vindication. But the seeds of doubt had been planted, and even those who initially sided with Blake started wondering if there was more to the story. Before anyone could fully process the courtroom fireworks, TMZ leaked a snippet of footage from the very scene Blake cited in her lawsuit. Viewers were stunned to see a playful, flirtatious exchange where Blake and Justin appeared perfectly comfortable around each other, anything but the high-tension environment Shed previously described. Blake's complaint had included a story about Justin leaning in during a silent montage, whispering something suggestive, and allegedly touching her inappropriately. But the video paints a different picture. In the clip, they're laughing, nuzzling, and trading lighthearted banter about body makeup and grooming. It looks less like a moment of harassment and more like two co-stars who already know there's a camera rolling, which led many to question the sincerity of Blake's allegations. Megyn Kelly seized on this new piece of evidence, pointing to how out of sync it seemed with Blake's narrative. If these allegations were so dire, why did the leaked footage show a congenial, almost giddy atmosphere? That single revelation caused a seismic shift in public sentiment, and the story blew up across social media. Some fans felt betrayed, believing Blake had possibly inflated or twisted certain details to suit a specific agenda. Yet, that footage was just the tip of the iceberg. More leaks were coming, and each one threatened to dismantle another part of Blake's carefully crafted account. As more details emerged, Hollywood insiders began taking sides. While some remained staunchly in Blake's corner, others expressed skepticism over her claims. Industry executives, particularly those who had worked with both actors, reportedly started distancing themselves from the controversy, not wanting to be caught in the crossfire. A list of celebrities who had once been vocal in their support of Blake suddenly went silent, raising speculation that they too were having second thoughts about the validity of her accusations. Even more surprising? Justin Baldoni's rising wave of support. Initially the underdog in the case, Baldoni has started to regain control over the narrative, with fans and industry insiders rallying behind him. His legal team is reportedly gathering even more evidence to discredit Blake's claims, further tilting the scales in his favor. Megyn Kelly's involvement in the case has added an entirely new layer of intensity. Known for her no-holds-barred approach to controversial topics, Kelly has been relentless in her pursuit of the truth. Her deep-dive investigations into past Hollywood scandals have earned her a reputation as a fearless journalist, unafraid of taking on powerful figures. But is she merely exposing the truth, or does she have a deeper motive for going after Blake? Some analysts believe that Kelly's aggressive reporting style is fueled by a desire to hold Hollywood elites accountable, while others suspect that personal bias could be at play. Regardless of her motives, one thing is clear: her scrutiny of Blake's claims has had a profound impact on public perception. Before the silent scene scandal, Blake had accused Justin's producing partner of showing her something akin to inappropriate photos. But that claim backfired spectacularly when the so-called pornography she referenced turned out to be an intimate snapshot of the partner, his wife, and their newborn, documenting a tender home birth moment. Instead of revealing a violation, the incident highlighted a glaring discrepancy between Blake's public statements and the reality behind them. Suddenly, people started combing through all of Blake's past remarks, interviews, and official court documents, searching for more possible red flags. They found them in her own text messages. Screenshots showed her inviting Justin over while she was breastfeeding, sending lighthearted, even flirtatious messages. It didn't exactly gel with the image of a traumatized actress who felt cornered or coerced. Even those who tried to give Blake the benefit of the doubt began to wonder. If some of her claims could be disproven, which parts of her story still held up? Public sympathy started shifting. The narrative of a powerless star overshadowed by a manipulative director was suddenly less convincing, and many began to suspect the lines had been blurred intentionally. Just when Blake might have hoped for an off-ramp, she found herself caught up in another public relations twist, one that exposed her deeper motives in this legal fight. In what some called a desperation move, Blake's legal team demanded a gag order to prevent Justin from continuing to release information to the media. She argued that Justin was trying the case in the press, but critics pointed out that she had leaked details of her complaint to major publications before even filing a formal lawsuit. The hypocrisy struck a nerve. Megyn Kelly dug her heels in, remarking, "If she has nothing to hide, why is she working so hard to silence any fresh evidence?" That question found an eager audience, especially after Justin's team fired back with their own counter-lawsuit, alleging defamation and a campaign to destroy his reputation. Both parties accused each other of spinning falsehoods, but only Justin seemed willing to let the raw evidence speak for itself. Those who followed the story closely couldn't help but notice that Blake's approach felt calculated. One day, she was unveiling revelations in a high-profile news outlet. The next, she was denouncing Justin for bringing proof to the public. The back-and-forth escalated as social media users took sides, turning every snippet of leaked text messages or emails into front-page fodder. Amid the fray, Justin Baldoni dropped a legal nuke, a $400 million countersuit accusing Blake Lively and even her husband Ryan Reynolds of defamation and extortion. This amount is so staggering, 4 times their combined net worth, that entertainment lawyers immediately labeled it an extreme strategic move. Yet Justin insisted the number wasn't arbitrary. He argued that Blake's false allegations cost him lucrative opportunities and tarnished his public persona in a matter of weeks. Legal experts weighed in, suggesting the huge sum might be more of a headline grabber than an actual reflection of damages. Could Justin really prove he was on track to earn $500 million, if not for Blake's allegations? Possibly not, but the eye-popping figure injected new drama into an already chaotic story, ensuring the conflict remained top of mind for media outlets. Blake, for her part, dismissed the claim as Darvo, a tactic of denying, attacking and reversing victim and offender. She painted herself as a truth teller facing a powerful man's intimidation strategy. But critics argued that Blake had plenty of power herself, a household name with a massive social media following, and connections to Ryan Reynolds, a star whose own celebrity wields enormous influence. The $400 million lawsuit forced people to confront a pivotal question. Was this truly about justice, or had it become a high-stakes game of reputational poker, with both parties pushing chips onto the table and praying they had the stronger hand? As the legal battle raged on, new revelations from the press tour of It Ends With Us began to surface, further complicating Blake's stance. Reports emerged that co-stars and crew members felt uneasy about her changing narrative. Some sources claimed Blake had initially spoken positively about Justin, even praising his directorial vision and on-set leadership. Others pointed out inconsistencies in her timeline, questioning why she had waited until the film's promotional cycle to air grievances. Additionally, behind-the-scenes footage leaked online seemed to contradict some of her claims of discomfort during production. In one video, Blake appeared relaxed and engaged while filming the now infamous silent scene, a stark contrast to her later assertion that she had felt pressured and humiliated. Public reactions grew even more polarized. Supporters of Blake argued that survivors often reframe their experiences over time as they process trauma. Skeptics, however, saw the discrepancies as evidence that her allegations were opportunistic, designed to shift blame in case the film underperformed at the box office. In a bid to regain control of the narrative, Blake launched a series of high-profile interviews, framing herself as a whistleblower for toxic industry practices. She spoke at length about power imbalances in Hollywood, hoping to rally support among feminist organizations and advocacy groups. But this approach wasn't entirely successful. Some activists distanced themselves, unwilling to stake their credibility on a case riddled with inconsistencies. Meanwhile, Justin remained largely silent outside of legal filings, a strategy that seemed to work in his favor. Every new revelation about Blake's changing story only strengthened his position, reinforcing the idea that he was being unfairly maligned. His legal team's calculated restraint made them appear more credible compared to Blake's increasingly aggressive media campaign. While the courts will ultimately decide the legal outcome, the court of public opinion has already weighed in. What began as a seemingly clear-cut case of power dynamics in Hollywood has morphed into a messy, tangled web of accusations, counterclaims, and reputational warfare. For some, Blake remains a victim, bravely speaking out against an industry that protects powerful men. For others, she has become an unreliable narrator, using her platform to manipulate public sentiment for personal gain. And for Justin, the fight is no longer just about clearing his name. It's about restoring his career and proving that not every Medu-era claim should be accepted without scrutiny. As more details continue to emerge, one thing is certain: this is far from over. The legal battle may take years to resolve, but its impact on Hollywood's shifting power dynamics will be felt for a long time to come. Leading up to the release of It Ends With Us, fans noticed a glaring absence of chemistry between Blake and Justin during promotional events. They were rarely seen in joint interviews, and when forced to appear together on red carpets, they stood at arm's length. Whispers of tension and behind-the-scenes turmoil spread like wildfire. Rumors suggested that Blake had grown deeply dissatisfied with Justin's direction of the film, and that dissatisfaction snowballed into a tug-of-war for creative control. Justin, feeling cornered, reportedly apologized repeatedly, sometimes at odd hours via lengthy voice memos. One leaked memo lasted nearly 7 minutes, featuring Justin apologizing for not meeting Blake's expectations, praising her star power, and even nervously acknowledging that Ryan Reynolds might not be pleased with the ongoing tension. The entire situation was bizarre enough that many questioned how the same two people who once seemed excited to collaborate had descended into such animosity. Meanwhile, It Ends With Us exceeded box office predictions, but that success was largely drowned out by the swirl of scandal. The film's marketing campaign took a back seat to endless headlines about Blake's accusations and Justin's mounting collection of receipts. Hollywood insiders called it a cautionary tale of how personal drama can overshadow professional triumphs, especially when social media steps in to fan the flames. With a jury trial now slated for 2026, the question on everyone's mind was, which side would the public end up believing when all the evidence finally came to light? The consequences of this bitter dispute stretched far beyond one film's press cycle. For Blake, the controversy threatens to upend her pristine image as a poised, relatable star with an unblemished reputation. Critics are already drawing parallels to the fates of other celebrities whose credibility diminished in the wake of questionable statements. That's a far fall for someone who once held near universal appeal and generated headlines for her fashion statements rather than courtroom sagas. Justin Baldoni faced his own hurdles. At one point, he was on a path to becoming a highly sought-after director and producer, often lauded for his sensitivity and progressive stance on masculinity. But allegations of harassment, even if unproven, can cling to a person's name, especially in an era when social media can ruin careers overnight. His brand is at serious risk, no matter how many documents or videos he shares to clear his name. Hollywood at large is watching with rapt attention. The saga underscores how quickly a single lawsuit or a scandalous headline can flip the script on a star's entire career. Studios are hesitant to attach themselves to controversies that might spiral into full-fledged publicity nightmares. Meanwhile, advocates for survivors of harassment worry about the impact of false or exaggerated claims, fearing such cases could undermine the legitimate grievances of real victims. Yet, all the speculation, legal maneuvering, and mudslinging only set the stage for one final showdown, one that's almost certain to be explosive once the trial date arrives. With a trial date set for March 2026, both camps are gathering whatever ammunition they can. Blake's team demands that Justin cease leaking evidence, accusing him of unfairly shaping public opinion. Justin's lawyers argue they're merely leveling the playing field after Blake's initial leaks painted him as a predator. Multiple insider sources claim that more text messages, emails, and voice notes exist, potentially enough to dismantle either side's defense entirely. Tensions run high, and some industry veterans say neither Blake nor Justin will emerge from this unscathed. The question is who will weather the storm better. Ryan Reynolds' role remains a mystery. While he's publicly kept quiet, rumors swirl that he's orchestrating a behind-the-scenes strategy to protect Blake and their shared brand. Others speculate that Ryan is simply in damage control mode, focusing on their family and existing business ventures. One thing is certain. His name being mentioned in the $400 million lawsuit places him squarely in the crossfire, intensifying the overall spectacle. For now, the public waits, captivated by every crumb of new information that leaks out. Will the star-studded couple's influence prevail, or will Justin's relentless quest to clear his name unravel everything Blake and Ryan worked so hard to build? What started as a Hollywood collaboration has spiraled into one of the industry's most polarizing legal battles. On one side stands Blake Lively, claiming she's a wronged individual who courageously spoke out about harassment. On the other, Justin Baldoni, insisting he's the victim of a smear campaign orchestrated by someone determined to control a film and rewrite her own image. Each new leak, each contradictory text message, video, or voice memo raises fresh doubts about what really happened and who, if anyone, is telling the full truth. This dispute isn't just about two co-stars clashing over creative control. It's a broader commentary on how easily a reputation can be shattered in today's cancel culture climate. It asks if we, the audience, are too quick to assume guilt when salacious headlines appear, and whether due process even stands a chance in the court of public opinion. Above all, it forces us to confront the messy gray areas where real harassment allegations and false accusations can collide, damaging real lives and reputations in the process. As the countdown to the 2026 trial continues, observers worldwide are holding their breath, wondering if even more disturbing secrets will crawl out of the woodwork. Will the evidence support Blake's claims of intimidation and harassment, or will Justin's receipts prove he was a scapegoat? Either way, one lesson shines through. In Hollywood, the truth isn't always simple, and sometimes the biggest revelations are the ones we least expect. Stay vigilant, because in this twisting drama, the final verdict might not be the end of the story. One slip up, one new piece of evidence, and the entire narrative could be rewritten again. Only time will tell who emerges from this battle of egos, allegations, and sky-high lawsuits with a career and integrity still intact.